3 Duxbury High School students were flown to Boston hospitals after crashing a car into a tree on their way to school Friday morning. The accident happened near the intersection of Franklin Street and Union Bridge Road shortly after 7 a.m. Those that lived nearby the crash site said they felt the impact inside their home. The crash involved 2 brothers, one a high school senior, the other a sophomore, and another senior, according to police. Those that lived near the crash site said they felt the impact from inside their homes. Neighbor Claire McLaughlin said the car was coming down Union Bridge Road when it hit a small tree, knocking it into the road, and then wrapped around another, larger tree near the entrance to a walking trail. Her husband, Richard McLaughlin, went outside and tried to open the car's doors, but couldn't. Inside, 2 boys were awake and another was unconscious. Claire called 911. The road was shut down for more than an hour as emergency personnel tried to extricate one of the car's passengers. Tire marks stretched 200 feet up the road. The McLaughlins said Union Bridge Road is a windy road that drivers often cut through, sometimes at high speeds. The family has the only home on the roughly half-mile street which abuts conservation land. Police Chief Mark DeLuca said the cause of the accident was not immediately known.
The condition at this time is unknown. It was serious at the time of the airlift.
Can you describe the accident to us? I wasn't there. What was the scene like? Was there a lot of traffic? We know that's the school hour.
They apparently lost control of the vehicle and broadsided a tree. There was not a ton of traffic at that time.
Having been on the road, the car seemed to travel awfully quickly. Speed a factor?
It's being investigated at this time. We're not sure.